Authorities discovered a Bible that contradicted everything we knew about Jesus 22 years ago, also in Turkey, where minor discrepancies are an understatement. According to this 2,000-year-old Bible, Jesus was not crucified. However, this ancient discovery is not a Bible, but rather the writings of St. Barnabas, one of Paul's associates. This book is worth roughly $28 million because of its historical relevance and challenging new facts. Even photocopies of each page may set you back more than $1.5 million. Barnabas penned the book in Syriac and Aramaic, which was also Jesus' native tongue. The book was examined by experts who found that it could be over 1,500 years old. It describes the account of Judas being crucified instead of Jesus, and how Jesus rose to heaven while still alive. The book does not present Jesus as the Son of God, but rather as a prophet, and the alterations keep coming because it also refers to Apostle Paul as an impostor. This is particularly intriguing because the book was written by St. Barnabas. This could imply that the Apostle Paul forced St. Barnabas to write a different history. Despite these incredible discoveries on such a significantly divergent version of the Bible, the book attributed to St. Barnabas that was discovered in Turkey was not a Bible, it was simply a book. While this discovery illustrated with gold leaf can be regarded a Bible, one of the mysteries disclosed in pristine circumstances is included inside those images. There have been thousands of years of speculation about what Jesus looked like, and official versions around the world don't go into much detail. Despite this, one of the simplest ways to communicate to everyone without saying a single word is through an image, which explains why the Western world adopts only one manifestation of Jesus, with long hair down to his chest, fair skin and a beard, and deep eyes that are crystal blue in some interpretations. This portrayal of Jesus can be found in many large cathedrals and glass windows art pieces, an interpretation passed down through generations. People who adopt it, however, never challenge it since it's not an authentic portrayal of Jesus. The portrayal is said to have started during the Byzantine era. Because the Byzantines saw Jesus figuratively, they depicted him with an aura of serenity and a massive robe. They painted their own depictions of what Jesus would look like following his resurrection, but they didn't add any realism, an interpretation reminiscent of Hellenic pagan gods' robes and sumptuous sculptures to describe that godlike position. Long hair and huge beards have long been associated with divinity, as shown in various renditions of the Greek god Zeus throughout history, and artists in the Byzantine Empire attempted to make Jesus look like a young Zeus. Early Christians attempted to give realism to the interpretations by portraying Jesus as a regular man with short hair and no beard. Wild theorists claim that Jesus' visage is modelled on the infamous Pope's son Cesare Borgia, because Jesus was originally depicted as non-European due to his Jewish ancestry. However, Borgia did not like that image and directed that a more European-looking Jesus be created. Pope Alexander VI used his son as a model, and knowing the lengthy infamous path of corruption, cruelty and murder, they were completely capable of that and more. In 2001, an investigator recreated a 3D representation of what an ordinary man might look like in that era and civilization using a genuine skull recovered in the same place and year Jesus was born. The finished piece did not resemble the Western conception of Jesus. If all we know about Jesus is correct, he was a Palestinian Jewish man from Nazareth, a town near Sepphoris, one of Galilee's two major cities, who did not resemble a European. And in this Bible, we can have concrete proof that the figure we see on those pages could easily be Jesus himself, as this Bible ties back to the first branch of Christianity, which was assumed to be Catholic before they discovered this Bible. Nonetheless, it turns out that the initial branches are Assyrian, the language in which this old book was written. This Bible is invaluable. It can provide a unique viewpoint on early Christian history, since the earliest humanity has discovered can be found in the Leningrad Codex, which contains material dating back to the 3rd century. If we can better comprehend those early days, we will be able to develop more accurate hypotheses and describe the 7 different branches. Despite the fact that the Bible is beyond restoration and has been seriously damaged by smugglers, we can observe several historical individuals with possibly the most genuine depictions. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe.
I don't have the original manuscripts of the New Testament. They all disappeared within a century, I'm pretty convinced, by copying and copying and copying. Frequent handling. The early church was far more concerned to get the gospel out than they were to do exact copying of the New Testament. And that actually is a blessing, because they didn't have those kinds of controls, and consequently you get copies that are not through just one stream, but tons of people all over the place are making these copies. So here's a man who lives in Corinth. He's going to be visiting Rome, and he says, hey, I heard Paul wrote a letter to you guys too. I want to write that out. Do you mind if I copy it when I get there? Sure, that's no problem. This happened, I'm sure, dozens and dozens of times over. And those manuscripts would have lasted as much as 80, 90 years, but would have fallen apart from all these copies being made. So we don't have the originals, they disappeared. And all the copies that we have disagree with each other at some point. Sometimes it's quite a few disagreements, but we have hundreds of thousands of textual variants among our manuscripts.